Hi, Joel Rollins here for Rave Radio and Rave Publications InfoComm 2015 opening day, and I am here with Paul Depperschmidt of Cisco. Paul, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Paul is one of the gurus of collaboration at Cisco, and I am a big fan, as most of you will probably know. And Paul, tell us, I know that your job now is kind of moving people along and exposing them to that collaboration environment. Is that right?
Right. I've just spent actually 2.5 months on the road doing road shows around the world. So I started off in Sweden and Amsterdam and went through Canada and all that. And the job really was to try to help our partners know what the latest is, clearly with equipment, but also help them understand what we're doing and where we're going. Pretty massive changes coming up, and a lot of it has to do with this cloud idea. So you're going to see that a lot of people will make the decisions of whether they're going to put all their equipment on premise, like we've done for years and years, or whether they'll essentially rent it, in the cloud, or whether they'll do a combination of both, a hybrid. And so we have kind of parts and pieces for all of that, and really making sense of it is where everybody is right now.
Okay, so make sense of it for us. What's new at Cisco for collaboration?
I think one of the newest things we have, there's something called Spark, and Spark is a really teamwork based system that is built to help teams work together better. And what it really does is, imagine kind of an instant message presence, file suppository, conference room area all in one thing. So I build a room and I invite people to it, and then we work around the world and we add things in. It's persistent, and so we can add people, we can add information, and it stays there. And then I can upload information to it. I can upload presentations that people can look at. So it's a constant conversation that's going on, typically with small teams. We have larger groups, but this now spins off, and it says, and it takes the conference room, for instance, or video conferencing, or mobile, whatever, and adds that in. It's kind of the glue in the middle.
Is this concept similar to the WebEx conference room that I'm used to?
It actually kind of uses components of WebEx, but it's different in that it's a persistent room. So with WebEx, typically what you would do is you would set up a room, it would set up for that one call, and then would it tear down. So we also have built something into WebEx to say you can have a personal room, and I can hold it up there and you can just meet me there. But this is really different. Spark is different. It really moves the way that, especially the millennials, really want to move. They want to do their meetings in this, typed in text. Then we roll over to a conference call. I put all my information up there. What's kind of fun about it too is you can actually add people and say, you know what, we really need to have Ben or whoever it is in this. You invite them into that room and they can catch up with everything that's already there. But it all ties together.
Now, I'm one of those guys that does have a WebEx persistent conference room. Yeah. How would Spark differ from that for me?
Spark is really, again, kind of it's not just a meeting thing. And WebEx really is about meetings. And so you're going to have a meeting, you're going to invite people to it, you're going to share content, you're going to talk and all that. And while Spark has a component like that, it's really built to help facilitate teamwork. And so you put all your information up there. So again, WebEx wouldn't have a persistent place for us to type text and be able to talk and do kind of almost like an instant message to be able to talk amongst ourselves, in some cases around the world. WebEx doesn't really have that. It's like, here's the meeting, meeting's over, let's move on. Whereas Spark is much more persistent, and it holds that whole meeting and that whole teamwork on through the whole effort.
So Spark is more of a persistent meeting place for a persistent team.
Yeah, and again, it's not even, it's ideas, it's sharing content, it's sharing, here's a presentation, I've changed this a little bit, what do you think? And people will come back and look at it, yes, I like that, oh, we can move here. And it's just, again, it's built around teams. So collaboration is the story that you hear, everyone is talking about collaboration, and we need to make sure that those teams can be more efficient, because we've kind of pushed the individual to the edge. Okay, how much more time do we really have? So if you're going to get productivity, you're going to get it out of a team being more efficient, faster, better, smarter, making decisions quicker. That's what Spark is all about. So we're really moving into that world, and it uses all the technology. What you're going to find is all the collaboration endpoints in the background, the information or infrastructure is going to be kind of hidden back behind that. That's going to be the front end everybody sees, and you can use it on an iPad, an iPhone, on your computer, whatever it is, and it still looks the same no matter where you move.
Okay, so for somebody like me who has a persistent conference room but uses it with different people every day, is WebEx still the tool?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a conference call, then yes, WebEx is still a tool, or CMR as we know it, or Jabber. Okay, so you can do the same thing on Jabber depending on what you need. And we're definitely trying to show people that there's no one way to do this. It really kind of comes down to what your company does and how you like to work, and we need to make sure that we give you the apps and the tools that work in that area. So not forcing you into a particular space.
Okay, so looking at what I do, for instance, I have a persistent WebEx conference room. I keep most of my presentation materials in it about projects that we're working on, stuff like that, and I invite clients or teammates into it during the day for specific purposes. So I'm still a WebEx guy.
Yeah, still a WebEx guy. I think where you really, like, let's, for instance, some of our integrators are now starting to use Spark for a project management tool. Okay, so now you can invite your customers, you can invite project management, and then it's a persistent place for that discussion. And if it's another project, then you can make another room. And so I have, in my case, 20 or 30 different rooms that I'm monitoring on a regular basis. One is about this topic, another one is about that topic. And then you invite people into it, and it's about those teams getting work done, and sharing information.
Okay, well, within my organization, for that kind of purpose, we use a tool that's been around for quite a while called Basecamp.
Okay, and the same. I don't know Basecamp, but there's, it's not like we invented the idea. Spark is really kind of following on to things that other people have. What we're doing is we're tying it into that UC infrastructure, and we're making sure that all the other things that we build work with it, which makes it unique. So now, while it's not there yet, we have shown that you'll be able to tie in room systems to a Spark conference, within a Spark conference, and be able to, which is unique. And most everybody else is looking at a proprietary video. We're looking at it as, let's use the technology we've already sold and already deployed out there and be able to use it in that same system. That's really what makes it.
Well, you've done a lot of things to make ad hoc cooperation really possible over the last couple of years. I'm crazy for Jabber Me. Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been, as a Cisco dealer, that I've been most pleased with Cisco for is the ability to tie in traditional video conference systems with your new collaboration tools. What's happened on that front since you and I talked at ISE?
It continues to improve. And as you know, when I came in with the Tanberry acquisition, and when we came on board with Cisco, everyone still used WebEx, but they didn't turn their video on. And then what you found also that someone would have to stop and say, okay, now let's bridge in those other guys that are in WebEx into the video call. It was painful. So we went on a kind of a, all points, let's get this done. Took us years to put it together, right? To be able to take something that WebEx and standards-based video conferencing that were not built to work together and build them to work together. It was a massive effort. But now that we've done it, now it's just kind of constant improvements. It's that personal meeting room that I can do. It's different types of video calls. We've changed the look of the whole WebEx conference now to where it's more kind of user-friendly in the way it works. So it's kind of, now it's more on evolution. It's kind of, evolving over time. As opposed, the revolution was making the two work together, period. And now we're definitely into the evolution mode.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a talk yesterday with an old friend of yours from a previous life, Jim Smith, and had to admit up front that I was a big WebEx fan. And one of the things that has happened for me is we heard you talking about the integration of the traditional video conferencing in WebEx a couple years back. It seems to be pretty seamless now. I can actually invite them into a WebEx meeting. What's next?
Well, what's next is things like the web-based, browser-based video. Okay, so those kind of things are happening where I don't have to download anything. I don't have to have anything. I would just have the browser on my computer, and now I can call in to somewhere like a contact center, okay, or that customer retention. Every company has the issue of how do I deal with my customers, and when they call, what kind of experience do they get? Imagine adding that video component and be able to tie to rooms or desk systems or whatever you need to do, but a customer can get to us very quickly and easily without downloading anything. Those are the kinds of things I think you'll start to see. And, of course, the mobile capabilities of everything that people have on their apps and on their iPhones and their iPads and things like that, their Androids, we have to make all that work. And you'll also see things like intelligent proximity. It was one of the things that we use. So when you walk into a room, for instance, that codec in the room will say, oh, you want to move your call over from your phone to this endpoint, and you can just kind of roll it over, or share content, or be able to see content, or be able to control the room from a very familiar interface, no matter where I go. So if I go anywhere in the world, I can pull up my iPad or my iPhone, and I can do that intelligent proximity. I can say I can start the call, I can forward the call, I can do all those kinds of things. That's the kind of thing that you're going to see us doing. Is to make it much more standardized. And as we talked right before this, I think a lot of our customers are now saying, you know, I love all the bells and whistles. I love to have every latest feature and functionality, but quite honestly, I'll take 80% if it works every time, and I can understand it. You know, that's really where they're going. And so our products are really built, while we can go out there, you know, and really kind of cut the cutting edge like the SX80, most of our products are, you put it in there and it works. And the interface is standardized, you know, and it's the same thing that I see on my phones that I see on the desk. And that's where we're going, I think.
Well, you know, one of the things that I've been real pleased with over the last couple of years is WebEx now installs itself totally seamlessly when I invite a new client into it. And that, you know, that to me is a very important thing. If clients have to do an install to be in my meeting room, then that's too much, right? So what's the ultimate goal? I mean, you know, you're looking at unified communications where you've now brought together traditional conference rooms, the PC, a persistent meeting room. When do you feel like we're actually hitting what you could really term unified communications?
Actually, in our case, we're there. I mean, we have a system that we, you know, without getting into too many terms, but it's like the business edition systems, which we were just talking about a little earlier. It's a server. Okay, it essentially can do kind of anything. But I was always amazed that I can take that server, which is very affordable. I mean, they don't really cost that much in the scheme of things anymore. I can do voice, I can do video, I can do instant message presence, I can do mobile, I can even do contact center, I can do recording and streaming, I can actually have my MCU, which is my multi-point video, on that same server. And so, all in, I could have that and a couple of endpoints for, you know, under $30,000. I mean, I can deploy a full system with endpoints for under $30,000. I mean, you and I have been in this business a long time. That's what a codec costs. Right. And so, the cost is coming down. You know, we all want pervasive video, and I think that's the ability for us to do that is there now. Price is coming down, functionality is coming down, and this is something that to an IT person, it's a server I put in my rack. You know, it's not an AV thing. You know, it's not an AV piece of equipment or whatever.
Leah McCann and I were just looking around the Cisco booth, and I saw a lot of new stuff. And you know, that's always exciting because this is a hardware show, and we tend to be hardware guys. What's the most exciting thing you think is in the booth that we should go look at?
Okay, new things. I guess they're, you know, brand new. A couple of weeks ago is 2 of our phones that now have 720 progressive video on them. Okay, so, and price-wise, they're less than $1,000 retail, you know, and so you now can start to deploy that instead of just going and saying, I'm just going to put another phone where I had it before. It's like, yes, let's do a phone, but add that video component and really make it work, you know, and I think that's where you're going to start to see some things start to bust loose. They're not necessarily new, but when you move up a little bit, our DX system, I think, is our desktop-based system is really amazing, especially for the price. I mean, you've got something that's under $4,000 retail for, you know, a big screen, touch screen with Android operating system on it. I think to me that's kind of a breakout, and we're seeing our customers kind of vote with their dollars.
Can it also be my desktop monitor?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, and so you can actually use that as your desktop. So in most cases, you may not even need a computer based on what you're doing. So you don't need the peripheral video things or the voice, you know, audio or whatever it might be. And touch screen, you can add a keyboard if you like. But most times that may be all you need on your desk. And in which case before, like even right now I haven't moved over to that, but I've got an EX90, which is a great video system, but it's a video system. It's all it does. So I have to have all these other parts and pieces on my desk. That eliminates it. You can put it all really in one place.
You know, it sounds like first morning you've already had a busy show. What's the rest of the show like for you?
Well, actually, I'm working the booth, so anybody that sees this and wants to come by and say hi and talk, let's do it. I'll be actually working the booth for the afternoons, but there's other meetings with customers, and then we have an evening thing tonight, actually, that we're doing. But it's... I got to admit, though, it's a little different than years past because I'm not as involved in the InfoComm things that I had in the past. So I came to the show without starting on Sunday night and kind of working nonstop through it. It's a little easier to go through a show without being, all the training and all that kind of thing. It's not. I miss it some, but then again.
Yeah, we all have to have a little hiatus. Anyway, what's the booth number?
Oh gosh, you would ask me that. You know what? I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know the booth number, but I can tell you it's right behind Crestron. So if you can find the Crestrons in the center right there, we're right behind them, and so you can flow right into it.
And we'll have the booth number up on the website when this posts. And Paul, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Okay, appreciate you talking, and have a good show, everybody.